Oh man, good morning everyone. It is a windy day here in Kansas, which isn't terribly surprising, and I have a lot of stuff to do to the BMW, which is also not surprising. But here in 45 minutes, I gotta go see a client for my day job, so I need to get this fixed quick. So the two things that we're gonna try and do first is the, antenna amplifier and the mass airflow sensor. We're also going to do vapor barriers. I got a whole bunch of stuff from the junkyard. We got vapor barriers, floor mats, tail light, lenses, an oil change. If my Blackstone oil analysis kit gets here this week, what else? I don't even remember. A whole bunch of stuff. I got a whole bunch of parts, actually. Let's go look at all the parts I've got. Ignore all the Nissan stuff. We'll get to that later. Oh, right. Okay, so we got the antenna amplifier, some new lenses for my license plate lights, a new center console, some rear floor mats, because I don't have any, front cowl piece, which is in like brand new condition. The rubber's in super good shape. My missing door vapor barriers, and the mass airflow sensor, which isn't in here right now. So we're going to do the mass airflow sensor and this guy right here, which is an antenna amplifier. This goes in the rear C-pillar on the coupes and the sedans. And this is responsible for dealing with the signal from the keyless entry remotes, which mine are having intermittent issues. Now there's a lot of reasons that your BMW might not unlock when you want it to. The most common is that the batteries are dead. Well, I soldered new batteries into these when I got the car. I'm pretty sure that's not the issue. You can also have problems with the unit that actually activates the doors themselves, which is called the General Module 5. That's not my issue, because if it were, I would still get some acknowledgement out of the car, and I would also have issues with my brake button in the center. I think my issue lies in this module that receives the signal itself. And there's no guarantee that this one is good, but I got to this car 2 days after it got into LKQ, and it looks to have been supremely well maintained. I mean, again, it had all the vapor barriers in it, and the cowl was in excellent shape. So clearly that car was taken at least reasonably well care of. So hopefully this guy is going to be in good shape. And we can get it put in. So I should only need a few tools for this. We're gonna do the MAF first. So I'm gonna need a flathead screwdriver, best tool ever. I'll need that. I guess I haven't mentioned yet why I'm doing a mass airflow sensor on this. If you've been watching for a while, you probably know I've been fighting some issues with my fuel trims on this car, occasionally getting lean codes and whatnot. Also a code for the barometric pressure sensor, which is actually inside the DME itself, soldered in place, and acts as sort of a sanity check for the mass airflow sensor. Oh, missing the retaining tab. And another friend of mine, I also have, rough starts sometimes, mediocre fuel economy. Another friend of mine had all these issues, and neither of us have any vacuum leaks that we can find with, a smoke tester or anything like that. So we've both been pretty confused, and he's pretty certain that his issue is a mass airflow sensor, so I'm kind of going to be a guinea pig for both of us and put in a new mass airflow sensor, because he has brand new everything, brand new CCV system, new intake, O-rings, gaskets, all that. I just put in these new boots. I know I don't have any vacuum leaks at the moment. And the reason I never really thought it was a mass airflow sensor before is because we would compare his car that didn't have these issues. He has a lot of E46s. By having our cars warm up, get to a warm idle, and seeing how much measured air the mass airflow sensor was seeing, and comparing those numbers. And they were both the same, so I assumed that mine was reading correctly. But apparently there can be more wrong with these than just incorrect readings at idle. There's all kinds of transients and whatnot that these have to read, that read well through. Keep my old one around just in case. Here's the new one. This is Bremy. He's had good luck with these, so I trust him. It looks well made, and it actually has a retaining clip. Heck, who knows? Maybe that's the problem, and it just wasn't locking in place properly. That's all there is to replacing the MAF. And I'll let you know how this works later in the video after I've driven this a bit. The antenna's kind of a fun one. It's going to be here under this this light in the back of the car, which can be sort of fun to remove. Mine's been in and out enough that it's kind of, come on. I was going to say kind of easy, but then it just went and tried to prove me wrong. So let's unplug that. And I actually think that one of my cheap Amazon LEDs has gone bad, so I'll probably replace that while we're in here. Lots of while we're in here things. And then on the coupes, you'll have a torque spit to remove, but on this, it's just a swift pull. Maybe. There we go. And out it comes. And if yours need recovering, you can recover them. But since I have a black interior, I'm just going to leave it alone. And then we have 2 torque spits there and a whole bunch of plugs holding this in. That does not need to come out. So you're not going to be able to see much. So I'm just going to unscrew these and then I'll show you how all these connectors come off. Well, I did exactly what you don't want to do and dropped the screw down in there. So I'll have to go fishing for that with a magnet. So we're just going to undo this top connector here so we can get enough room to undo. That was really loose. We're gonna undo this coax BNC type connector here. Looks like that. And then it looks like there's just one, but there's actually 2 left. One down on the end there, this one here. And it's out. This here doesn't have a latch. You just pull that out. So that's our old module. Looks to be in okay shape. Let's see here. Huh. Looks like the car I got this out of was manufactured 6 months after mine. That's 6 of 03, and this is December of 03. So let's go ahead and slap this bad boy in. Installation is reverse of uninstallation. So just plug everything back in, screw it back in. I think it grounds through the screws. The screws are really goofy. They're tapered and they are extremely stiff. Like they're difficult to turn. So I think it grounds through these. So these will have to be in for us to properly test it. Wow, it's installed. Ignore the fact that one of the screws is missing. That is not important. Also, look at all the sound deadening they put on the inside of this panel. That's impressive. Let's see if this worked. So before we can test this, we're gonna have to re-sync it to the car, which means close all your doors. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5. Then hold this one and 1, 2, 3. Nothing. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Damn it. Let's give this a shot with my other key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then unlock, lock, lock, lock. Unlock, lock, lock, lock. Something wrong with that receiver? Status report. The antenna amplifier doesn't seem to have done anything. My remotes are still incredibly intermittent. I think maybe there's something going wrong with both my remotes at the same time, which is unlikely, but these are probably as old as the car is, so there's a good chance. I might send one of these off to a guy who actually repairs these and see if he can work his magic. I can stand outside the car and click unlock 40 times before anything will happen. And that's with both of them. The other thing is maybe I'll try setting these on a wireless Qi charger, and because these are wireless, these have, you know, rechargeable lithium batteries in them. They charge when they're in the ignition. These could just be so dead that they're not charging properly. I'm not sure. As far as the mass airflow sensor goes, the car accelerates a lot smoother, but it barely idles. So I think I need to reset adaptations, but I left my cable at my friend's house, so Anyway, on to the next issue, which is this armrest. And the issue is it's broken. The hinge section has left the building completely, and also the leather is quite bad. Like, ugh, your skincare routine has not been so great. So let's do something about that. Somewhere where it's not so hot. Here is my new old armrest. As you can see, it has a bit of fading going on, but the cracking doesn't have as much of a texture to it, and the hinge areas are in good shape. So we're going to fix the worst of its cosmetic issues using SEM Color Coat Spray Leather Dye. I'll get back to you on this. I'm gonna have to admit, I'm pretty impressed with how this turned out. The The light spots are completely gone. I think there was one here. I can't see it anymore. And like it's only been drying for like 15 minutes. Nothing's coming off. So yeah, it's real dye. It soaks in. That's pretty impressive. So let's go put this in the car. And for that, we're going to need 2 tools. 2 tools, once you can find them. Flathead screwdriver, pair of vice grips, new armrest. Let's go put it on. I forgot. You also need a Phillips head screwdriver. Dang it. Get that on out of here, and we can see what failed here. These hinges are just completely shot. So for my own sanity, I went and moved the seats forward so they're out of my way. We're just gonna get our 2 Phillips out of here. I'll need to get a new one of these sometime. Gosh, this thing is dirty. I don't think I've ever really cleaned this back here. Okay, so that comes out. And there is an electrical connector there on the side. I like how this is like a freaking nesting doll. There's just pieces inside of pieces. It just keeps coming. And we've got 2 more Phillips head screws. Are you noticing a trend yet? There's the other out. Now, sort of push these ears out and this whole piece lifts up. Oh, and then the screws fall out because there's no sides to this. Okay. Oh, and actually the whole center console is loose now. Interesting. Okay, so if you see right here, there's a spring in here, and this will be different if yours isn't completely broken, but we're going to grab that spring and pull it out with the vice grips. Actually, we probably don't even need the vice grips since this is broken. Yeah, just comes out. And then this tube here can be pried out with the flathead screwdriver. And this can be a little bit of work. Oh, wow, my car's just really easy. And that's the pivot that the lid pivots around. So let's do the same thing on the other side. Pull that out. And this is going to be under a decent amount of tension if you still have the lid on here. And then out comes that. And this is, you'll see this is keyed here. It only goes in one way. Oh, right, the base stays. I'm an idiot. Okay, now we put the new one on, and I've never done this part before. I've only ever removed these. I'm not sure how this goes back together, so we're gonna learn together. So presumably, this is keyed to only go in one way. Okay, there we go. So yep, that's keyed. So once we find, oh yeah, it slips in super easy once you get the right location, then it snaps into place. So now that can turn. Now it's just a matter of getting the springs in. Wait, is this even, what does the spring do? I get it. You know, I could have watched someone else's YouTube tutorial to figure this out, but it's much more fun if I do it myself. So it might seem like you just want to line this up with this, you know, turn it this way and you'll be fine. But actually, you want to spin this all the way around like this to preload the lid so that when you push the button, it pops up. So you want to do with your vice grips. This is very difficult to do with one hand. That number, I don't know if I even showed that properly, but the net result is that when I push the button, it flings up. That's pretty cool. Well done, BMW. And look at how nice that looks. It's gonna be, I've never been able to use my armrest in this car, so I am super stoked about this project. Okay, this guy goes back in. Plug in the doodad to the thingamabob. Done. Nice. I mean, the leather surface itself isn't, you know, brand spanking new, but for like $5, I'm not gonna complain too much. It goes up, it goes down, and it opens. You can put things in it. I don't know what you would put in here as pretty dang small. I mean, let's see here. Yeah, no, that's not even a Max. That's just a normal iPhone. It no fitty. Next on our big list of things is this piece of plastic right here. Runs all along the windshield, and as you can see, mine's supposed to have a rubber gasket here, and it is just missing completely. This can cause leaks and other fun stuff, and I really should have replaced this long before now, but they're expensive. So even if my used one isn't amazing, if it lasts me like 6 months, that's fine. So let's just pull that off. I might have already loosened that. Don't worry about it. It's 15. There we go. Wasn't that easy. Tends to be that way when you've already pre-loosened it with a rattle gun. Now this one I haven't. Oh, look at that. Now, these can be stuck on here quite good, which this appears to be. So I have this tiny little claw grabber Madudi. Yeah, there's not enough room. Oh, it appears that just wiggling is getting this one off. You can see there's this compressed ferrule that goes in here. One of those guys. Huh. Well, that's both wiper arms off at least. I think the penetrating oil I used was my saving grace on that one, so now it's just pulling up. And this should come free. Oh, what a mess this thing is. Oh, what a mess there is underneath there. That's all lovely. The phrase, far from good, good from afar, comes to mind. Oh my gosh, this wind. Here you can see the difference between my two pieces. And if you're thinking, hey, this one was kind of faded and ugly early, you're right, but now it's not, because I dyed it too. This stuff's amazing. Look at this, even on the rubber. I'm pretty sure you see how this works. There are clips, there are holes. The clips go in the holes. It's not rocket surgery, but it does take both hands. Now for the cabin air filter cover, which naturally I also dyed because, well, it was white in spots. It looked absolutely terrible. I'm very curious how this dye will hold up in areas of high UV exposure like this. So this will be kind of an experiment. I'd say that's an improvement. Well, things quickly got annoying. After the last clip, I don't actually remember what happened, but a friend came over and we were poking around the car a bit, and we decided to check in the DME housing, which is where the car's ECU is, because we wanted to look at like the relays and stuff for the primary O2 sensors. What we found was oil, and here's why. Somewhere in this-ish area, I'm not actually sure where, I should know because I need to replace it, is the oil pressure sensor. And when that leaks, the oil will actually wick its way up the wires all the way back into the DME housing. So you could see these wires here, they were all covered in oil. We emptied an entire can of CRC contact cleaner and blew it out with compressed air and put it all back together, and the car ran noticeably better. But I'm still fighting a few weird issues, and I kind of worry that my DME might actually be damaged. I don't think I'll be too heartbroken if that happens, because then I can switch this over to from an MS45.1 to an MS43. It's a less sophisticated DME, but way more tunable. Cheaper to get licenses for. There's way more resources out there. These MS45.1s are an absolute mess to tune. So that would be neat, but I'd have to like get new O2 sensors and swap those over, and I think I'd have to swap most of the engine harness. But the whole MS-43 swap can be done cheaper than buying and having a new MS-45 reprogrammed. So we'll see what happens in the future with that. In other news, I also borrowed a friend's key fob for his car and tested locking and unlocking, and it worked flawlessly, even with his cheap eBay key. So I can put my C-pillar back together and, shoot, I guess I should probably get a new LED, huh? Oh well. So I can put that back together. The antenna works. The whole system is fine. I just need to have my keys rebuilt. There is a guy who will actually take apart and rebuild the keys. It's like $70, but I really want to keep my genuine BMW diamond keys. Yeah. So I'll probably go that route for that. Another thing that I'm doing, we're finally putting in the vapor barriers. We actually took the passenger side apart and then put it back together already because it actually had a vapor barrier in it, and I completely forgot about it. And then for the driver's side, because, well, I'm the driver and I want the nicest shit, I bought, straight from BMW, a brand new vapor barrier. Extravagant? Yes. But hey, I'm an extravagant person, clearly, as I wear my free promotional hat and my t-shirt with my name on it. Oh, and to attach this, so for the goo around the edges of the vapor barrier, I bought this 3M Super Black Weatherstrip and Gasket adhesive on the advice of a friend. I also have, Sylvania Taglight LEDs to go in the back with my new lenses, Wix oil filter, so that we can do an oil change with some Mobil 1 full synthetic. And then we're going to drive this thing to Oklahoma City tonight to pick up some Maxima parts, hopefully. A lot to do. The other thing, I just keep adding things. I keep remembering things. So we've got this apart. I pulled the battery negative cable so I could take out the airbag there, because I'm actually swapping this entire wiring harness over. You'll remember this door is not original to this car. This is off of a parts car that was also an 03, but apparently in the middle of 03 there was a switchover, and this is like completely wrong for my mirrors. So this is the wiring harness out of my original wrecked door, and I'm gonna put this wiring harness in here, and then eventually I'll just get a mirror that actually works. But for now, I don't care that much about this mirror not being adjustable. What I care about is the incredibly obnoxious fact that I cannot turn off auto tilt on that mirror with this harness. So we're doing all this to fix that, and then once I'm done playing around in the door, I can put the vapor barrier back on and seal this all back up nice and good. You got all that? Perfect. So actually removing the wiring harness is pretty straightforward. You just pop out all the Christmas trees and break all of them. I don't know how this new one's gonna go back in, but then it's actually super easy. You just take your 8mm on your tiny little ratchet and away you go. And I'm gonna need all 4 of my hands for this, so I'll get back with you. So once that one screw at the top is out, this whole thing, I believe, oh, I thought that was captive. Oh well. So this all comes off. Haha. It works like the radio connector. Ah, my legs. So you pull it through here, then I'm just gonna feed all this back through. Get out of here. Around there. Pull this out, I'd get the main bulkhead connector through here by, reaching in. There's a this guy here that you'll need to unclip from, I believe, here. But then what I do is I undid this bolt and loosened these other bolts on the window regulator, because this wire is usually routed through here and none of the plugs will fit. So I'd actually just push back on the window motor and slide the whole cable around, and there. I believe that's how it's supposed to be routed. And then I just pop the motor's stud back through. Now I can work on feeding this back out the door. Come on. There. And now we can start putting the whole rest of this harness back in place on the door. Hopefully I can plug this back in without accidentally pushing the connector back into the A-pillar. That would be a sad time. I zip tied the new style mirror cable out of the way, and then also put back the zip tie here in the factory location to hold the main harness. Now we've got our new vapor barrier, which doesn't fit in frame, and we're gonna have to do a little bit. We gotta cut out a few spots here. We gotta make a space for this wiring harness to come through, and other than that, just start sticking it down with that that goop over there. So the way to do this is to apply it to the vapor barrier and then let it dry until it's tacky. I think that's pretty tacky. So I think we're good to go ahead and start throwing that back on the door. Where do these wires come through? Yeah, just that. Okay, so I'm gonna grab an oil sample from the middle of this pour. There's some black oil. Now, the reason that this oil is probably so black is because I run Rotella, and it's just kind of dark right off the bat because it's, you know, diesel oil. Heck yeah. So I'm pretty excited to see the results of this. I've never done a Blackstone oil analysis before. I don't actually know the mileage of the engine in this car because supposedly it's been replaced at some point. So this will be kind of interesting to get just an idea of, you know, what the engine's health is. I was going to do Liquimoly for this oil change, but this oil was given to me. Thank you, Chris. Please, sir, can I borrow some fingernails? See, it's high mileage, so that means you'll get better fuel mileage. That's what that means. I think that's all of it. Perfect. Right to the top of full. Okay, so this can be my top-off oil. And I'll update my spreadsheet for my oil changes, and we can hit the road after getting some gas, because this thing has like no gas in it. And actually what it does have in it is mostly injector cleaner, because I like ran this thing down empty and then put a full thing of injector cleaner in it. So it's not very pleased about that, but hopefully the injectors are clean. So gas for the car, food for us, and then hit the road to OKC. Okie City. Okay, see you later. Thanks for watching.